You combo everything together, including the cloud cover that we see over 7th and Rangeline, the fact that the wind's not really blowing too hard, and then you go, how in the world are we talking about making it up to about 104, 105? That's a good idea about just how stifling the humidity is right now. There's your live look over 7th and Rangeline. The cloud cover already building up, and 92 degrees. What's it feel like? 106. 106 if you were just to, be walking through the intersection right now. My goodness gracious. So let's go talk pure temperatures first. 94 in Iola and Parsons. We're kind of spread all over the place, anywhere from high 80s. See the Iola, Fort Scott, Nevada, even Miami at 89. And then we've got as much as 94s in Chanute and Parsons. And we got Carthage at 91. Still a couple 80s hanging down there. And so once again, even though we look at that humidity and we go, that doesn't seem too bad, my goodness, it's a good thing that we don't have the south wind coming in at 20 miles per hour, because that would certainly be give you every cause in the world not to go outside today. We're just really ranging about 5 miles per hour. But when we talk about what it feels like right there, we talked about 106 in Joplin, look at it, 105 in Webb, 107 in Neodesha, and even those places, down in northeast Oklahoma where we saw temperatures that were in the high 80s just a second ago, we're still talking about it feeling like triple digits. So once again, that's why it's important to point out that the heat advisory is in effect to make sure that everybody stays, just a reminder, stay on the safe side there. And then that purple that you see down through northeast Oklahoma, that indicates an excessive heat warning. Well, you go, what's the difference between those two? Probably about 5-6 degrees as far as the heat index reading later on this afternoon. Figure the orange, as we just saw a second ago, sitting about 105, 106. But if you get down, farther to the south, that's where we're talking about 110 to 112. And these heat advisories, the warnings, the watches, in some form or fashion, you look at those lasting from the Gulf of Mexico all the way to the Canadian border. Speaking of the Canadian border, look at the big ridge of the jet stream pushing all the way over Montana right now. So it's not just us that's being affected by very hot conditions. It truly is just about anywhere from the southeast to big sky country, and of course we fall right in the middle of that. Now, one nice thing we don't have to worry about, a lot of times we get that quick heat up during the afternoon hours and we get some thunderstorm activity, but we actually cut ourselves out of the severe thunderstorm risk map. We still do have that low pressure system that's hanging right off the Georgia-South Carolina coast. Thing just once again doesn't want to move, but instead of going back out into the Atlantic, now she's kind of eyeballing taking a little northeasterly track. And if you look where that arrow points right there, you've got a good idea that water is warm enough where it's conducive to have her become tropical. Our afternoon planner here is all about the heat. We're up into the mid-90s later on this afternoon. Remember, peak heating time really in between 2 and 4. And then overnight back into the 70s. Any rain that we see, you're really going to have to drop into the south. And then from Wednesday into Friday, we're going to stay on the dry and hot side because the 7-day forecast is going to lift us up into the high 90s by the time we get to the weekend. I don't know why our wonderful engineering crew is trying to disrupt my lights here in front of the Skywatch Weather Center. It's a heat advisory. I think it tips everybody off that we need to be safe. We need to make sure the pets have water. We need to make sure the kids have sunscreen, and all of us need to be well hydrated before we head outside. How about that, Trey Dawson?
You just got called out. All right. Okay, so coming up later in the show, we're going to see if our numbers have changed.
Yes. We're going to check on our heat index. I call it the Tanya Guesses heat index numbers.
Yes. How hot is too hot?
How hot is too hot?
All right, our little game show. Thank you, Michael.